Hello, everybody, and hi, everybody. Welcome to our final Talking Stick show, our final one of this year, and what a year it's been. So, tonight we are joined by my co host, Andrew Tobin of Symmetry of Health.
Hello, everyone. Good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Hello, and welcome to the last Talking Stick show of 2023.
And our inspirational scientist from
Guru.
nearly from the North Pole, David Ellis.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the last talking stick of your 2023 lives.
Yeah, so we thought it would be Dale thought this is Dale's idea, isn't it, Dale, to do the Aurora Borealis. So
I think you might have mentioned it, then I was like, great idea. Then all of a sudden it just became a show a few weeks later.
yeah, it's because there's been so many lately. I don't know. I'm going to ask David because he's the man who knows all this. Whether we've had an unprecedented number of Aurora Borealises, whether they're being seen further south. Certainly, we had them viewed near the south of the UK, which I'd not heard of before. I know Dale's seen them up where he is in York, and David's certainly seen them because he's just shown us a picture. So,
I am
David,
inside the Aurora Borealis where I am.
You're there. You're an ancestor.
So a lot of people, like, for those of you who don't know, I am way up north in no man's land. I love being in no man's land. For those of you who are wondering how much of the Aurora Borealis that I see, I want to share a picture with you that I took that happened in where I live. Give me a second. Let me just share that picture on screen. Oh, yeah. That is amazing. So a lot of people, it's not usually this intense, but in the last couple of days, we've had an unprecedented event happening in outer space. For those of you who don't know, who don't read scientific journals, I want to share that with you as well. So I'm going to share my screen and share it again. For those of you who don't know what has been happening, because y'all are too busy watching the news that is not telling y'all actually a lot of anything. This is what has happened in the last couple of years. Joel, if you could just put that on screen. Okay, weather from outer space can make trains crash into each other. Let me just read that quickly. In the future, the ones... Okay, so first it leaves on the track. Now, rail chiefs are being urged to consider the safety risks posed by much higher altitude solar storms. Train crashes could be caused by flares from storms switching signaling from red to green. Scientists say in the future, they warn trains could be canceled as a result of space weather forecasts like the meteorological forecasts are used today. So what has been happening? The research team from Lancaster University explained that solar storms can trigger powerful magnetic disturbances on Earth, creating geomagnetical induced currents, which could potentially interfere with electricity transmission and distribution grids. The team, led by Professor of Space Physics Jim Wild and a doctoral researcher Cameron Patterson, modeled how geomagnetic currents flowed through the track circuits of AC electrified lines powered. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you what a solar storm is. Solar storms occur when magnetic eruptions on the sun's surface, solar flares, or coronal mass ejections. Notice I said ejections. Dale, I know you're laughing when I said that, right? Hit Earth's atmosphere. For those of you who don't know, that happens frequently. Within this energy blast are high energy protons, one of the three main particles that make up an atom, alongside neutrons and electrons. I'm going to give you guys a science lesson in a little while as to why this is important to you. When the protons collide with atoms and molecules in the upper atmosphere, they create a layer of loose or free electrons which gather at the bottom of the ionosphere and interfere with radio waves. In addition to hampering communications, large solar energy blasts pose a radiation threat to humans in space and even passengers in aircraft at high altitudes in more extreme cases. There are more than 50,000 signaling track circuits in the UK, where the signal is controlled by an electrical circuit between the rails. Now, they could have shielded that ever since. I'm going to stop sharing and let's get back to the main topic at hand. For those of you who don't know why, when all those light workers are talking about solar flares, am I still? There is something to be had when we're talking about solar flares and so on. Are we glitching? We're glitching.
Yeah, there was a bit of
I,
interference there.
It's
The
probably
solar flares.
No, we're having the time of it up here. So the solar flares, when people talk to you guys about solar flares and how it affects a human being or how it affects other people, let me give you a few little facts that y'all should know, but I hope that you guys know this. An electron does not see time on space. For those of us who passed physics, an electron does not see time and space. What happens when you split an electron? If you split an electron and you move one half, millions of miles away, thousands of miles away, if you do something to one half, it affects the other half as well. It doesn't matter what distance you move that electron half to. That's a statement of scientific fact. No one understands why, no one understands how, but it gives an idea of how when people say God is everywhere, they really do mean everywhere. Okay? That's the first lesson that you guys should learn in physics. Not that you care about physics one way or another, but you should, because physics can make the difference between whether you're healthy or not and how you operate and whether you crash your car or not. Okay? And so that's the first lesson. The second lesson that you should learn with regard to how the human body operates, your body is an electrical field. That's what the nervous system is. Neural activity depends on electricity generated by your brain. Every movement, every thought, everything that is you, every thought, your smile, the way you pick things up, all of these things are dependent upon the electrical activity that you put out. Okay, so we have two things that are happening. You got stuff coming up from the earth, which is a resonant field. You are caught in a resonant field due to the fact that you're stuck to the ground, or else, things might not go so well for you. Okay, we'd be saying bye. Right, so you're caught in a resonant field. So you're getting it from above and below. Okay, so for those of you who don't know how being in the earth and all the stuff that the shamans talk about is of any significance to you, it's because you don't travel enough. Because if you came up to where I was and then you went down to the Caribbean and then we sent you down to Australia, you would not be doing okay. All right, I'll explain from a personal experience. So I'm closer to the North Pole than pretty much all of y'all in the audience. And I made the mistake of moving from the North Pole in minus 30 last year, then going to Toronto in plus 3, and then taking another plane because I was in transit and going to Barbados in plus 35. I was not happy. Nothing on me was happy. Okay? I felt like somebody microwaved the shit out of me. Okay? So if you travel a lot, you understand the concept of different land masses, different places on Earth affecting your body. What this solar storm is doing up here where I am is ionizing the atmosphere. When there is a storm, the lightning is pink. Okay, that's a sign. That's a sign. Okay? A lot of interesting phenomena happen up here. How does this affect people? I know that moving here has given me quite a lot of my health back, right? I feel strong. I don't know how to describe that to you. I feel strong. When I was in another place in the world, I felt weak because the heat was taking stuff out of me as well, right? But it's a neural thing. I think when you breathe in really good oxygen, you get smarter, you get stronger. It's as simple as this. Okay, so I think you would rather be in a charged atmosphere than a non-charged atmosphere. So for those of you who go out to the countryside and you say, "Oh my God, I feel so much better," yeah, because your electrical field is actually resonating with what's below you and what's above you, as opposed to if you were in a concrete jungle and you were cut off. That is how these things affect you.
David, would it be a good way to say you have increased life force? That's
Yeah,
what you're talking about, that you feel better.
it's not only me. It's like I can't. Okay, let me see if I can explain this and break this down. When I moved from a place where I lived in a place where every day you knew what the weather was going to be like. Okay? Meteorologists don't make any money out there. You can't tell us anything we don't know. It's going to be sunny, and the day after that, it's going to be sunny, and the day after that. And I know a lot of people in North America and in Europe, they're like, "Oh, you're so lucky. Shut up. It's plus 35. Do you understand what I'm talking about? It's plus 35 all day, every day, all year around." Okay? And so that gets tiring after a while. The good parts about that is that you won't put on a hell of a lot of weight, you know? You'll sweat that shit out of you. Right? The bad part of that is that it's hell, right? It's hell. It's hell. And so I think there is that. And so to answer your question, Laura, the ionized atmosphere, the fact that everything out here is alive, everything out here is alive, right? I have like, if you ever walked in an area where the air is actually charged up and you inhale it, it does something to your body that it's like your body opens. It Everything opens. It's like the top of your head is opening. It's like the pores in your skin are opening. Like it breathes. When I lived in Toronto, nothing was open. Okay, not even my mouth. I was afraid to open my mouth. Okay, because you don't know what's going inside when you say something. Okay, and so for those of you who lived in Toronto, shout out to those of you all who live in Toronto and New York. You all know what I'm talking about. All right. I'm very happy to live in a place where the air is alive.
So for those listening now, so we've come out of solar minimum and we're going to go into solar. Well, we're in solar maximum at the moment. So on the 1st of December, we had a G3 and it was the highest solar storm activity reported in at least 2 years. So it's been constantly coming in, coming out, coming in, coming out. And it's going to be like this for the next 10 years. So we're going to have these crazy solar storms happening at the craziest times every single week for the next 10 years. Just think what's going to happen to humanity in 10 years' time with all of those solar storms coming in and cooking things up.
I like the way you put that, Dale, cooking things up.
So is the solar maximum still 2025, Dale?
Yeah, we've come into it early. We came into it at least
so.
a year early. And it's going to continue well into 2035, yeah.
Right. So things are hotting up.
Yes.
Correct.
And so we've only literally got like at the moment by looking at all the data, it's like 2 days of actually maybe a G0 where it calms down and it goes to G1, G2, sometimes G3, and it just comes in waves in and out. And I was really shocked because I looked again, I'm like, holy shit, aurora in north of England again. Like, we actually get Aurora Borealis probably once every month down in the middle of England, and that's so rare. Like, rarely would have that, maybe 4 times a year, but you're getting many Aurora Borealis spotters coming out the woodwork now. It's actually going onto TV quite a lot because, yeah, shit's going down. The sun's coming out.
For the people who are Aurora Borealis chasers and tornado chasers, they're very, very happy nowadays, right? Because it's not only that we're getting the Aurora Borealis, we're also getting it in different colors that we haven't seen before. Yeah. It used to be this green. And now we're getting purples and lilacs and all sorts of strange colors.
And what it does, I was going to say also what it does is it raises consciousness. So to answer Barefoot Souls, or just to respond to their statement, awakening of dormant DNA, yeah, absolutely. Because if it's raising consciousness, then that's how it's going to do it. Awaken all that DNA.
I am very fortunate to have traveled a lot. Like, you remember years ago in the Isle of Wight, they were seeing Aurora Borealis, like a localized version of it. That was in England. I was in that town that's near to the Isle of Wight. That was Leamington.
New Forest, yeah.
Yeah, Leamington. And I saw it there and I'm like, what the hell is that? This is the strangest rainbow I've ever seen. Right. And it wasn't a rainbow. It was, I'm like, why is that down here? So a lot of things are happening. This geostorm that happened in the last couple of days, boy, we got it out here. We definitely got it. I'm like, what's going on? Because usually speaking, you can't see Aurora Borealis in the city because of the light pollution, but we're seeing it. We're actually seeing it, and it's everywhere. So that's a good thing. That's actually a very good thing. And for those of you who don't know what the other function of all of this stuff is, you'll notice that birds, there's more than one reason why they fly south for the winter. It's not just because they want to be total assholes and escape the cold and give the middle finger to the humans that can't fly. It's that their navigation systems depend on the Earth's electromagnetic field. So when something goes wrong with it, it messes with them tremendously.
That's also the same for whales, isn't it?
Correct. So the only animals living out of sync with nature are us. Let's just get this clear, right? The only animals living on this planet that are out of sync with nature are human beings. The whales
humans on Facebook.
Even dogs understand nature, because you see, when a storm is coming in the Caribbean, your dog will tell you.
Yeah.
Okay? When a hurricane is coming, your dog will tell you, right? If you are in Canada or in England and so on, your dog tells you a whole bunch of stuff that you don't know about, okay? Even before the thunder strikes, that low pressure, it feels it. We are the only ones who don't feel it.
It's interesting, isn't it, David? Because we now rely on the news to tell us that. We rely on something outside of us to tell us something that we already know inside of us, were we to tune in to the Earth's natural frequencies. But so much of that has been cut off from us. I mean, the elders know, the indigenous knew, but we've lost that heart-mind-earth connection, which is something, on the Talking Stick and Andrew shows, is continually what our teachings are about.
I don't know which kind of natural phenomenon I am most afraid of, because let me give you a few horrible things that have happened. So in Canada, a tornado touched down. That was a few years back, and it hit a gas line and it set the tornado on fire. What could be more horrific than a tornado on fire?
Is there a video of that? I'd love to see that.
What could be more horrific than a tornado on fire? Okay, that's not a good thing, right? So there's that one. Or I don't know, getting on your phone, an earthquake warning. What? You know, the thing about it is that that's a funny thing. You get an earthquake warning that the earth is upset with a certain area that you live in and has decided that everybody must die. Okay? What do you do? It's not like you could run away. If you're not a bird, you are done. Okay? Like by the time you get the warning, you cannot jump into your vehicle and I'm just going to drive away from it. No, you can't do that. Right? I don't like I don't know which one would you which kind of natural disaster would you rather be in? Actually, we'll open it up to the audience. Which kind of natural disaster is your nightmare disaster?
What about a volcano erupting, which then creates a tsunami? So that's probably the worst one, isn't it? That's my personal one anyway.
I like yeah, because a tidal wave is nothing to balk at, right? Right. But I see idiots going and surfing places like that place in Australia, that place that soup ball in Australia, right? Where the waves are taller than most skyscrapers, and they're like, "Oh, I'm just going to paddle out to get this wave." I'm like, "Okay, you do you," because I'll watch it. I'll watch it on YouTube away from you, right? I'm not even getting near that beach. So, like, in the Caribbean basin, there's a mountain underneath the sea called Kikamjeni, and they're all living on borrowed time because if that erupts, everything is getting wiped out in that area. Everything is getting wiped out in that area, and they know this. But I think my worst natural disaster of nightmares would be an earthquake, for sure.
Have you ever been in one?
Go ahead.
Have you ever been in one, David?
I've been in several.
Okay. What?
I've been in several. I used to live in California. Okay, so so the thing about it is that if you're used to your ground and you have an earthquake shake the ground underneath you and you don't know what's going on, it could mess you up for years afterwards. Your sense of motion, it messes you up. Okay, so people think that only when destruction happens is an earthquake important, but no. If you're used to a certain kind of ground, your nervous system, your sense of movement and geopositioning, you are like a bird. Okay, so if I shake the ground underneath you, the thing that you know to be certain and sure, and I'm going to give you a joke about that because people don't understand the nervous system and the electrical system as well. So I'm going to give you a joke in a little bit. If I shake the ground underneath you and you cannot recalibrate quickly, then it will mess you up for a number of years. You will experience dizzy spells for years after the fact. So that's the untold dangers of earthquakes. So this is how your nervous system works. There's certain things that you know for sure, okay? You know that the ground will always be there, and then it isn't, okay? You know that the ground will always be there. You know that when you take a step, you're going to move forward, theoretically. But what if something happens and you're not moving forward? You know that the sun is going to rise in the east and set in the west. You wake up one day and things get reversed on you. It messes you up psychologically, and your nervous system is never the same after. I'll give you an example, a simple example. And this is a bit of a joke, and it's not funny, but yes, I'm going to laugh because I laugh at inappropriate shit, and we all know this.
Yeah.
This woman, an insect flew into her house. She hits the insect, it doesn't die. She hits it with a newspaper, it doesn't die. She throws it into the toilet, and she finishes 2 cans of insecticide on this insect to make it die, right? It's a grasshopper thing. Okay? I don't know what kind of household they had. She thought it was gone, whatever the case may be. Husband comes in, right, sits down on the toilet, right? He's smoking and he drops the cigarette. And he drops the cigarette down in the toilet bowl, which promptly turns into a fireball, right? right. He really had to go. So you see, an experience like that, as an example, will mess up your entire understanding of what constitutes safety. So a lot of people don't understand, like stuff from outer space and so on that you can see can mess with you. It absolutely can.
So let's talk a little bit about the flares themselves. So when there's a solar storm and the solar flares come, so the particles come out the sun, then they return back to the sun. And what this causes for people is and as you're talking about the nervous system, David, it's perfect way because people's shit comes up for them. So when there's sun particles coming, the solar storms are there. A lot of people blame stuff on everything else, but the solar flares are actually showing you shit what you need to work on within yourself. And this is why you find on high solar storms, people have breakdowns, dark night of the souls, many different parts where they realize there's got darkness suppressed in them. And the sunlight and all the high energy and the soul codes coming through, it triggers them into, say, their own darkness. So a lot of people can weaponize the solar flares, but it's nothing to weaponize at all. It's something to work with, have ceremony with, see yourself with the Earth's dreaming mind as the solar storms come, because that's what the natives did. They saw it as the whirling rainbow. So when the solar storms came in, they did rituals and ceremonies where the ancestors, the northern dancers, came down and dreamed with them. So they'd
And they
have
wouldn't
sacred
move.
fires.
And they would not move. They would
Yes.
not continue
Yes.
moving. They would stop for good reason.
Yes.
Everything's affected. So the Schumann resonance is affected.
Correct.
So
Yes.
we are going to be affected. And this is what people don't realize. People don't take any notice of space weather. They don't think what happens in the outer atmospheres affects us. And it even affects like the plates, doesn't it? The inner earth plates.
Yes.
Creating earthquakes.
Correct.
Tectonic plates, that's it.
Yeah,
Earthquake.
the tectonic plates. Yes, correct. I think that a lot of people take certain things for granted because the animals know, the whales know, but we're the only ones who dumb as hell. Like I don't understand it. Let me tell you. Listen, I grew up my entire life. I all sorts of metaphysics. I never went into shamanism before I came out here. Because then I realized that these seasons are affecting me. They're affecting me. In winter, I am dead, right? Like you find me like, ugh, right? And in spring, there's a newness in the air that makes you, like, it opens up stuff in your body. You can tell, okay? Summer is miserable for me because it reminds me of where I came from. But that's beside the point. And in autumn, the beauty of what's around you, it just opens up your mind. To answer what Dale had said earlier on, you are an electrical creature. That's what you are. Okay? All that bone, flesh, hair, and cartilage that you have going on, it is powered by an electrical circuit. Okay?
I've got a little chart here. We've
Yeah.
got a chart that Joel's going to put up. Just a rough one that I did. But I don't know whether you can actually see it. Just the cycle of what happens.
Correct.
It's just hand drawn, so I don't know if people can actually see that.
Do you want to go through it, Laura? What's going on there?
Go ahead.
Well, look at my copy. So it's just very simple, just showing that sunspots will trigger solar flares, and then you get different types of solar flares, X, M. X is the most powerful. That can lead to a coronal mass ejection, a CME, which do they call them CMIs now? Am I a bit behind?
No, they're still called CMEs.
Yeah.
Okay, which are superheated gas plasma, which affects the Earth's magnetic field, creating geomagnetic storms which disrupt Earth's magnetosphere. It also affects satellites, and then it also triggers auroral display, which obviously is what we're talking about here. So this is high potency energy that's sourced from the sun, comes from the sun in the form of a solar wind that reaches Earth as well. That's another thing that actually triggers the display. It's from the solar winds reacting with the Earth's atmosphere. And then the solar flares can be small, local, low solar atmosphere, creating electromagnetic radiation, which affects, as David was saying earlier, radio, microwaves, X-rays, gamma rays, light and visible. I think that's the different types of light, isn't it, David? The different types of flare.
Yeah, the spectrum.
Yeah, there we go. That's basically the cycle of it there.
You want to know what else is very interesting about all of this? What's very interesting about all of this is when these solar flares hit our atmosphere, and people think, well, it's not going to affect me because I'm protected by Earth's electromagnetic field. It is interacting with Earth's electromagnetic field. There are a number of forces that are acting on your body at any one point in time. It's not just gravity. It absolutely isn't. Everything in this life is frequency.
So there's a comment, David and Laura say. So someone's saying, I get horrible anxiety that comes up when solar activity is high. So that's just showing you that the anxiety is there, and it's just raising out of you to show you that that's something within you need to be working on. Like David said, your circuit board. There's something there's something wrong in the circuitry of yourself, and there's something you have to explore there.
Yeah, go and heal with the Earth's natural circuitry as well. Get yourself well grounded and get yourself out into nature, because we do get rattled by these things. There's something else here which is interesting from Klaus. So does it speed up the process of our cells to change from carbon to crystalline? So I've never gone too much into the crystalline aspect of us, because I went there some way when I was very much in my light worker years, and it seemed to have got a bit hijacked. What's your view on that, David and Dale?
When it is that I'm doing, one of the things that I try to build is bridge between what is scientific and what is esoteric. Okay, theoretically, Klaus is right. In the Earth, that's exactly what happens to carbon. Okay, we are carbon-based life forms. That's where that concept comes from. That construct comes from. Right, and at least pieces of us are crystalline in nature, literally and biologically speaking. There are parts of you that are crystalline in nature. Okay, I don't. It's difficult to make the connection because carbon is carbon, no matter what it is. One of the things that people always miss, for those of us who went to the schools where they learned physics and chemistry and biology, carbon is carbon, no matter what form you're looking at it in. It's kind of like when people say to me, well, David, I'm vegan, or when somebody say, oh, I eat meat, and you're vegan, so one of us must be right. I'm like, you know that chemical that you're eating right there? It's the same chemicals.
Oops.
Right? When your intestines and stuff is finished with it, it's the same chemicals. And so I want to say to Klaus the following things. In the Earth's crust, carbon under heat, pressure, and electrical currents is converted to crystals. Human beings are made of carbon. So theoretically, it should work the same way, but you'd need to get somebody to... You would need to get somebody to volunteer for that process. You would need to get somebody to volunteer to scientifically test that one out. Okay, right? Right? You need to. You're right. It is a very, very long process, Klaus. It is a very long process for that stuff to happen. However, I think it's like the old esoteric people from the Western esoterics used to say, ascend with the greatest sagacity towards your crystal form, right? It's like, this is what they used to say. They used to say that with reference to meditation and how you ascend and so on. But I get your point. That's actually very interesting, actually. I just need to find myself a guinea pig to subject to.
I'd love to know what Guru David speaks of it.
Yeah.
You get somebody to subject to intense pressure, heat, and electricity to manifest their crystalline form.
I think the problem is that, the light worker industry, particularly early on, you'll remember this too, Dale, in your light worker years, was all about making it sound like it would happen almost overnight. You turn crystalline and you descend. So
You
that's
should be crystalline.
yeah.
Bloody hell, it's happened already.
Yes. I've ascended. So
So let's move this a little bit to another direction. So a question for both of you, Laura and David. So for those who are experiencing difficulty during the solar activity, what would be some of the advice you'd give to them? This is a very good question because it's going to help a lot of people. David?
David, you got your hand up.
Listen to what your ancestors did. Stop. Reflect. Let it roll through you. Reacclimatize. It's like people. There is something that we teach in somatic experiencing. This is something that Laura would be familiar with, craniosacral therapy. If you trip and fall on the earth, it is not in your best interest to just pop back up all of a sudden. Do it slow. Right? If you trip and fall, you want to know why? Because in that instance, you have lost your understanding and your understanding of safety for a brief period of time. That little brief period of loss of safety, that trust that the earth will be there and it'll be your friend when it's not, right? Depending on where you fell, right? That trust and safety is broken. And so when these things are happening and you're experiencing interference, let's put it that way, interference, it is not in your best interest to ignore it, to move past it, and whatever. Sit, do what your ancestors did, sit in it, ingest it, add it to your DNA, and so on. When I came up here, where I live right now, the air was way too clean for me. Way too clean. Way too clean. I had not experienced clean air like this in a while, in a minute. And so I was like, the air smells nice. I I'm now a connoisseur of different oxygens now, right? The air was way too clean, right? And the seasons were affecting me, but I tried to ignore it. You want to know what happened to me? At a certain point in time, it just shut me down. Like I slept for days, like days. Andrew could tell you that story. That man did not hear from me for days. He thought something had gone wrong with me. Okay? It just shut me down. So listen to what is happening to your body, all the things that are coming through. For you, you need to stop. You need to stop.
Yeah, it's your awareness and your connectivity to Earth, which will help you ride the solar winds and ride the solar storms and get into some of that ceremonial space. Step out of time into no time. Work with it rather than battle it or ignore it.
Correct.
You can't ignore it. It will affect you one way or another because we're all part of it. So get yourself really grounded and do some of the practices outside if you can. Get yourself really out there in nature. Work with it. Use your prayers, all the practices use meditation, and go with the flow and go day by day because these are creating changes within us. And do the usual, do the journaling, do the inner work, do the introspection. I mean, we're coming up now anyway to the time of hibernation, aren't we, before the winter solstice? Those few days where we take a step back, retrospection and introspection.
Jump into the bed.
Bear of the West. Yes. Yeah.
Have a snooze.
Yeah, exactly.
I honestly think that people tend to they don't pay attention to what's happening around them. Some people are very, very dense, and I say dense, and this is even in the spiritual community. This is in the spiritual community. When things are happening to you that are important for you, when things are happening to you that are important for you, you need to stop. And a lot of people don't do that. They choose to just ignore it. There's a comment in the chat. I used to have clipping anxiety fears, but my internal work pretty much got it under control. Correct. The soul storms are plotting out more work I need to do, though. Okay. Yeah, I understand that as well. And here's the thing about it, right? It doesn't. I don't know how November was for all of y'all, but November was one hell of a month for all of us, was it not? These last couple of months have been, oh my God, it's just the time of year, right? Now, it used to be that coming down to the end of the year, things used to wind down, okay? Like, but no, this November was differently. It just happened. Everything just changed. I was on a podcast earlier on this month with Nicole. I think Nicole is in the audience actually, and we were just discussing that this kind of thing, this kind of upheaval in November is very rare, right? And then you have this geomagnetic storm. I don't think that's a coincidence. I do not think so. Okay, it brought up a lot of stuff for a lot of people, right? And when these things happen, would you like to know what I do? You could ask these guys. They don't hear from me because I'm in my lab, sealed off from the rest of humanity for a while. Sealed off from the rest of humanity for a while, and you can don't judge me, bro. Like, oh no, shit is happening. Let me just exit stage left. Right.
So for the solar storms and say last November and what's been happening lately, it's important that we realize that a lot of people get triggered into old shells, and the solar storm can trigger old patterns which people go back into to feel safe and secure. And it's something what has happened to me, and I've had to kind of, the shaman's death is something Andrew talks about, we all talk about so many times. It's just about allowing to see what these solar flares do to you. If they bring up paranoia, if they bring up anxiety, if they bring up programs within you, that's data for you to then to work with, so you move forward with. So the next solar storm, the next supermoon, or whatever's coming for you is going to be easier and easier. And they used to affect me a hell of a lot more than they do now. They still affect me, but I mean for the negative. I've stopped seeing them as an enemy, the solar storms, that it's going to bring up shit for me. And I see how can I get the great amount of growth for this moment with it. And it's about co-creating with the solar storms, co-creating with the moon, being the shaman of the self. And if you do have anxiety, like Trent's just said, that's just something you have to do the inner work on. Maybe breath work would be great for you to actually stop the program coming in, so you can start having control over it again and saying, no, I'm muting you. And I've dealt with anxiety in the past, so I've learned to do that as well from my years of doing breath work, learning how the programs can kind of take over. But it's about muting them, and there's loads of different teachings. We've talked about programs. That's a different show. But yeah, really, really cool topic, guys.
I like that, Dale, what you said. Be a shaman of the solar flares.
Yes. Ride them with the unicorn, with the tinfoil hat.
Actually,
shaman. Yeah.
I actually have a question for the energy workers who are in the chat right now. For those who are doing Reiki or quantum touch, quantum healing, or whatever the case may be, has it been different this last few days? Has it been different? I'm very interested in that. And the reason why I'm interested in that is because you guys play with electromagnetic fields all day, every day. That's what y'all do. For the people who are co-regulating clients in the chat, tell us, has it been different? For the meditators even. Because I meditate and it's been different. It has been different.
It's been vivid for me, a bit like dreams. We've not actually touched much on dreamtime, have we? But dreams, your dreamtime, your dreaming world is very affected by the solar flares. They can be very intense, very vivid. It's almost like the veil is thinner, isn't it, between us and between the duality and the singularity.
You mean the roller coaster dreams that flow in one into another? That kind of roller coaster thing? Yeah, that would be vivid and intense.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering whether the audience actually had those kinds of experiences. because it can't be just us.
No, it can't be. Absolutely. I think just people, for some people, it just happens and they don't question why. Again, that's the detachment that's happened from people away from the natural earth, from understanding the natural earth frequencies and how they affect you.
I think
I mean, the news never talks about it, does it? The news will never even mention a solar flare.
no, they don't. But if you're reading scientific journals, yeah, they're kind of important. They're kind of important, and they're going to be very much more important if they continue to increase. So you don't care about it until it lands on your doorstep, right? But it's already landing on your doorstep, and that's the problem, right? I think a lot of people dismiss geomagnetic activity and the whole solar flare thing as woo-woo stuff, not realizing that it's actually a scientific phenomenon, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it is.
They dismiss it as just woo stuff, like, oh, that's not an issue. Meanwhile, the birds are looking at you like you are the dumbest thing we've ever seen, right? The birds are looking at you. The whales are like, are these humans for real, right? Your dog at home, who is unencumbered by a judgment about whether anything is woo on something, he's also looking at you like, do you not feel that? Do you not even feel the low pressure in the atmosphere? Do you not feel that? You guys, look, when it comes to human beings, I don't know how we became so cut off from what is around us. I think it was just because it was easier, because it's easier to just go about life mindlessly in unawareness that, okay,
Yeah, we allowed ourselves to get dumbed down by the system, though, didn't we?
but but how I honestly don't understand how you could get that dense. If you step outside one day and you feel happy, the next day you step outside and you feel sad, you just think it's just a matter of happenstance. How does that work? How does that work inside the head, or do they not even think that far?
Well, we're not taught to. We're not taught to think really beyond the end of our noses in some ways, are we? Unless they tell us to, unless, school or the system or somewhere actually tells us, we don't actually trust, like we were saying earlier, we don't trust our own intuition anymore. And all that's been taken away with the loss of the great teachings of the indigenous. But
Already,
one way we can which is what Dale and I are going to do in a minute, and you too, David, if you want to. It's just do like a meditation on the spot that people can either write out and read back, or write your own meditation to get you through these times. Again, riding the winds of change, riding these solar flares and these solar winds to create for yourself the best possible experience, not the worst possible experience.
I have a little bit of a experiment to do with people. For those of you in the audience who are thinking that these guys are just talking a bunch of shit, we don't know what we don't get. So I like to make things very practical for people. So let's make this very practical for you. All of you get up. This is what we're going to do. You're going to spin around 10 times really, really fast, and then jump up and down for 5 times.
You have to get out your chair, Dale.
Good. Spin around 10 times and then jump up and down 3 times and see what we're talking about. All of a sudden, you really want to become involved with This is one thing that I used to use on a lot of people in my yoga class. I think we've lost Laura, by the way.
Too much spinning again.
Like, all of a sudden, you want to get very much connected after that. This is what we used to do in the yoga class to teach people about connectivity. When I spin you around 10 times and your brain can no longer function in the environment that it is, right? You don't understand how important it is when you're walking down the street and you see the straight lines of the building. All of these things are keeping you centered. We take all these things away, okay? And I take out your sense of gravity, or your sense of gravity works different when you jumped up and down just now, didn't it? It felt different in your mind. All the things that you take for granted are very important. If you are not connected, the only thing that's keeping you connected is a subconscious process. Because you see the lines of the building, you know that this is straight, and so I'll be fine, right? Because this is straight, so I'm straight. Okay? Until some evil person comes in your house and takes all your paintings and turns them sideways. Right? Right? Bends your house sideways. Right? Turns one room is this way, the other room is this way. And now you're not sure about the things that you take for granted. Get the idea? These are the kinds of tests that you put yourself through to explain to yourself why being connected is important. Because if you're not connected and you feel you're walking around life without this unawareness, the sky doesn't bother me. The salt water that I go bathe in and the beach does not bother me. It's just, these are just things. They're not just things, they're doing something to you. And yeah, that is what my 2 cents is.
Wonderful,
Perhaps
David.
before we go on and do the meditation, Dale, do we just want to help Amanda here?
Yeah.
Did you read it?
What I would recommend is coming on combine therapy.
Yeah,
especially for that. Something so rooted and deep like that, to draw it out of you would have to be a combination of back-to-back sessions just to slowly start getting that out. That's my own personal recommendation anyway.
Yeah.
David,
I want to say a few things to Amanda. I just read that. You want to put that comment up, actually. I was recently involved in a message and I'm having difficulty processing and getting the trauma out of my system. Can you recommend a technique to help me transmute? Well, everything we were talking about today actually does apply here. All right, embedded trauma, and the trauma that you have is a trauma that is a trauma of fear more than anything else, right? And obviously, I don't know what you saw, Amanda, and what you did not see. But what I would suggest to you with regard to this, the longer that you stay in the trauma, the more byproducts are being dumped into your system from the initial trauma. Okay, so first of all, can you recommend a technique to help me transmute this energy? Well, I would take Dale's suggestion in the long term. In the short term, for you specifically, you are going to have to face those demons at a very, very direct kind of way, right? So we're going to do a meditation just now anyway. Do you want me to do a brief induction on these people first of all, before you go to the meditation? Does that work?
Yeah.
All right, so Amanda, I'm gonna assist you with the induction part. I want you to learn the induction, right? Yes. Sean, you know wait for finish. Sean, that is the connectedness that we were talking about. That's exactly the connectedness that we're talking about. That's the connectedness. You just learned something in your body right now, Sean. Did you just learn something? Okay. All right. So let's continue the induction. Sean, you might want to sit down. This is the induction. If you are sitting, if you are lying, get comfortable. Okay, first of all, we're just going to just pause for a moment and understand connectedness. Connect with the room around you. Take a look around, take a long look around the room. Connect with the surface that you're against, whether it be a chair, whether it be a bed. Doesn't matter where you are. Connect with the surface that you are against. Take a deep breath in. We're going to count 4 in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. And just release it like normal. Just release it. We're going to do that again. Take a deep breath in. 1, 2, 3, and 4. and just release it. We're going to use the breath in a very interesting way. First of all, open your eyes, look up to the ceiling. Hold the gaze up to the ceiling. Let them close naturally. Open your eyes, look to the floor. And let them close naturally. In this next section, I'm going to prepare you for the meditation that Laura and Dale are about to do. But in order to do that, with your eyes closed, we're going to try to connect with everything. And I know a lot of people have trouble connecting with stuff. And Amanda, I want you to just listen to this section very, very carefully. If you're wearing shoes, it's probably not in your best interest. Take them off. This is what I would like you guys to do. Place your mind's attention at the bottom of your feet. That would be the soles of your feet on the outside of your feet. Place your mind's attention at the bottom of your feet. And I want you to slowly diffuse your mind's energy coming in through the soles of your feet. Slowly diffuse your mind's energy and come in through the soles of your feet. Come in through the skin and come in through the muscles and the tendons of your feet. Diffusing it slowly. If you are connected in this way, you will feel the tingles at the bottom of your feet. Don't rush. Let it diffuse into the cells, the sinews, the muscles. Not enough to just touch the bones, go into the bones. Everything liquid, everything fluid. Diffuse your mind into the bottom of your feet. And now slowly let your mind's energy come up into the ankles. Inhaling and exhaling. This is not a technique to use force. No force. Slowly diffuse your mind into every body tissue that you have in your ankles, in the skin, in the muscles, in the tendons, and start drawing that energy up into the lower part of your legs. Everything is tingling with the attention of your mind permeating every part, every cell in the lower part of your legs, setting it alight with sensation. Now just hold that sensation. Excellent. Now inhale and try to draw that energy, that sensation up throughout your body. We're going to concentrate. We're going to bypass the body And we're going to go to the brain next. Let your attention go directly into the skull. Your attention is being passed through the skull and into that physical organ, the brain that's inside your skull. No force. Inhale and let it come through in slow measure. Don't force. If you have difficulty creating the sensation in your head, inhale and without effort, try again. Diffuse your mind's attention into your skull and into your brain and into the back of your head, into the brain stem and everything connected there. Inhaling and exhaling. Hold that attention and let that attention expand and diffuse at the same time, running through every piece of tissue that is inside your skull. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to turn your attention to Laura and to Dale, holding that attention at the top of your head in complete diffusion with that organ that is your brain. If at any point in time you feel that you have lost connection, take a deep breath in and exhale and diffuse the attention deep inside your skull again. Now stay open, stay alive, stay in sensitivity and contact with the openness of your brainstem, and listen as Laura takes you through a meditation.
So just allow yourself to continue the sacred breath. And I'd like you to breathe, but as you breathe, say the now. I'm breathing to this moment of the now. I am simply breathing and allowing control to disappear. And just breathing and allowing sadness to disappear. And with the next breath, just allow yourself to relax. Allow yourself to smile in this moment of beauty. Allow yourself to smile in this moment of uniqueness. This great time of change. This great time of letting go all of those parts of us which do not serve us. Breathe those parts away. Breathe anxiety away. And I'd like you to place your awareness onto your heart. And I'd like you just to state the words to the heart. I love you. I'm never giving up on myself. I'm finding the strength to continue on my sacred journey. And I'd like you to build a fire in your heart. Piece by piece, you build the wood. And you're placing special ceremonial words into this wood as you build this fire. And this is building your own foundations. This is giving you the circuitry connection to the rainbow bridge, to the Aurora Borealis and the Earth's dreaming mind. This fire is an intention of you creating I am awareness of the self. I am awareness of how beautiful you are as a soul. And as you place the prayers in this wood and this fire, just place gratitude, thankfulness for those ancestors, because without them we wouldn't be here experiencing this beautiful uniqueness of 7-color time and no time. Allowing yourself to see how unique this universe is. Even if we are in the farming circuitry at times, we have to step out of this and see the infinite point of view. And I'd like you now is just to place a rainbow color into the pericardium and start beginning to clear out the old memories of lack, the old memories of trauma. So just allow this whirling rainbow to transmute any density and returning the pericardium, the water sac around their heart, into a sacred, neutral balance. And now I'd like you to focus on the heart itself. And I'd like you to bring a waterfall of rainbow energy just over the top of the heart, pouring into the heart, clearing the heart out. And you may feel the heart changing and just asking the heart questions. What am I avoiding in this life? What's my dreams? And just allow yourself to breathe and smile and dream this great dream. And now Laura will take you away and take you on to the next part of this sacred journey. Breathe, relax.
So relax even deeper now. And we're going to create a rainbow fountain from the top of your head. So this is to create your own Aurora Borealis, to wrap yourself and connect yourself to the ever-evolving colours. The colours of the Aurora Borealis, the colours of union and communion with Earth's dreaming mind. See this beautiful rainbow fountain from the top of your head, whirling, swirling around you with all those colours. For we know the Aurora Borealis is a direct byproduct of the solar winds and the coronal mass ejections that impact the upper atmosphere of Earth, illuminating those electromagnetic particles. And they can also illuminate your electromagnetic particles. So feel those swirling around you now. We know that womb chakras are directly related to the rise and fall of the Schumann resonance based off the North Pole. So the womb chakras create new life force and create new spiritual contracts through birthing from the previous generations. So you know your North Pole Aurora Borealis that you are creating here will be influential on the womb chakras. And here in our own Aurora Borealis that we are creating around us, we affect our 7 future generations. For the Aurora Borealis of the North Pole is our hub of interconnectivity to our 10,000 past generations, Just as the South Pole is connected to our 10,000 future generations. This is how we create interconnectivity. And it becomes the interconnectivity between the North and the South Pole. See yourself now in your own Aurora Borealis being that connection between your past and your future ancestors. This Aurora Borealis you're creating around yourself will affect your own sensuality. It will affect your own sexuality. It will affect anything that's part of your daily life force, part of your daily background energy. Sometimes we need to be aware that we use our sexual energy for non-sexual activities. In that way, we're using a micro voltage energy for micro voltage activity. By creating your own and connecting to the Aurora Borealis, it has the potential to give you these energies to your sexual centers, eventually leading to a Kundalini awakening. Let's recognize now, with our own Aurora Borealis wrapped round us, connected to Earth Streaming Mind, that we are the ancestors of ourselves, of our soul and our DNA lineage, that we will be reborn and our next generation of ourselves are having this an experience as a fetus in the mother's womb. The ancestors are us and our offspring of this lifetime and other lifetimes who are tuning in non-competition, equal co-creation, to add to the greater frequency of humanity's awakening, humanity's transcending, and humanity's understanding. Let's recognize that this DNA skin suit of ours is an electromagnetic weather management system, and it can weather the storms of the solar flares. But it is always our relationship to the planet and our love of the planet that helps keep us in balance. Let's use our own Aurora Borealis now to do that. Say to the ancestors now, as you're wrapped in the cloak of the Aurora Borealis, that you come as a non-agendered, no-time being, for fraud time has no relevance here. Knowing we are ancestors of ourselves, let's ask the ancestors and the spirit allies of the North to show us how to imprint our wisdom now into our future generations, and how to have acceptance and respect for each other as we move on our red road walk. We ask the ancestors now, as we connect to them and the Aurora Borealis, how do we take back our own power from a system that's dumbed us down? How can we work and co-create with the Aurora Borealis and the solar flares this lifetime to pull in new life force, new energies? How do we accept? How can we work with these ever-changing energies of the moment? Let's ask the ancestors now to show us our rites of passage, where we are in this life. Help us learn the cyclical expression of energies. And as the Aurora Borealis flows, let's ask the ancestors to show us what's flowing through us, what's affecting us, and how we can accept, co-create and work with the life force, with the energies it gives us. For we know it raises consciousness to show us how to act and react and interact with the coronal mass ejections and learn the infinite ways that a soul connects and disconnects from source. Let's ask the ancestors now, we're with them, to help us complete our soul codes, to help us find our soul families, to help us expand our consciousness so that we can be translators of the Blue Road of Spirit. Let's ask the ancestors and our spirit guides now to help us release from this loop of servitude that diminishes our light. To know we are the Red Road ancestors. We are in an infrared time from where we can create all other colours. And Red Road time isn't the false Roman numeral time. Earth time is our own local bubble of reality that's funded through the very blood and the chakra system that is us. And the purpose of this meditation now is to amplify your spiritual journeying with the energies of the solar flares and the Aurora Borealis, and also provides for you an advanced healing. So we must have deep intentions set in Red Road time, because Earth is holding space for us and a dreaming hologram frequency, so that we can experience the infinite point of view. And we achieve that by looking at our limitations and not arguing for them. Deprogramming them, retasking the ego to get us out of survival and into full thrival. Let's use this meditation teaching to release that Kundalini energy out of the crown chakra to connect us back to earth time and not fraud time, paving our superhighway for the Kundalini. So we must ground ourselves now. We must recall all the energies that are our life force, that keep us bonded, working and in alignment with this earth. We can maintain our own Aurora Borealis around us to connect us at all times to our ancestors in the north and in our dream times. So call back in all energies now. We ground ourselves into earth natural time. We align our chakras. We breathe deeply. And we know that all is well. Aho.
Aho chi ulakun lakum bawaya ye wa wa wa. Beautiful.
Thank you, guys. Well, that was pretty cool, Dale.
Thank you, Laura.
And David.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Anything else we need to say to wrap up?
I think it was all said then.
Yeah.
I think we've covered everything.
Yeah.
There's one thing that I would like to say.
Mm.
For those of you who are witnessing Aurora Borealis, you should congratulate yourselves. You live in a good area. You live in a good zip code. All right, because I'm guessing that there's not a lot bugging you when you're looking at that thing. Wherever you are.
So, as for those people listening as well, what was your experience of that meditation? So, we'd like to know all of your experiences. If you'd like to go into the chat, we really appreciate the feedback. What was it like for you, that experience? Did it bring up anything for you? Was it easy for you?
Also, you can write your own meditation too. I mean, get yourself earth connected and feel inspired. Get into some of that magical, that mystical, that unlimited point of view.
Mm-hmm.
You get heart connected, and like you might do in your prayers, and write how you feel, and write down what you think it will take to make you feel better, and then you get your soul hearing that when you write it and then you read it. It's a really good exercise to get yourself grounded into earth's energies as well, writing it out, or even doing it on your laptop, whatever, but then reading it, and your soul then hearing your voice
Right.
speaking that is a beautiful experience. There's so many, tips and things we can give you to get you through these difficult times. But if you've been listening to us for a while, Dale, David, obviously Andrew's teachings, you'll know you should have a good list by now of the tools, your toolbox, your skill sets to do this.
Mm-hmm. And have some kind of action plan. A lot of you guys are living in disconnection. And I don't mean just disconnection from other people, I mean disconnection from yourself as well. Have some sort of action plan. What is your action plan? So, meditation is one thing. Like, do you know your body really well? When was the last time you looked at your armpit? I'm sorry. Like, do you know your body really well? Do you like it? Do you actually spend time within yourself? Do you feel yourself in your skin, or is it just you just wake up and drag this thing around for 24 hours or less than 24 hours and then you fall asleep? So let's start with that action plan. Then start. Do you know your thoughts very well? Do you know how you will react in any situation? The worst thing is when something sneaks up on you that you're not expecting. There's a lot of people who have triggers that they don't know about, right? And it always comes up in the worst times. It's like Murphy's law for thoughts, right? You'd be walking on the street and you like during the pandemic, you leave your house, you had your Starbucks, everything is good with the world. Then you end up in a fight on Walmart's floor because somebody took your toilet paper. These things should not be a surprise to you. Are you regulated in your thoughts? What about your emotions? You connected to them? How many of y'all are angry and y'all don't know it? Would you like me to trigger y'all? Okay, no. Right? How many of y'all are angry and y'all don't know it? Are you angry? Are you angry? Are you sad? Are you depressed? What are you feeling? You know what? Let's stop talking and actually test this. How many people in this chat know how they're feeling right now? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Oh. You see, the silence is deafening. So that's your action plan right there. That's your action plan right there. We're going to start with the body, right? I know that I'm not walking into things because I'm aware of my surroundings, I'm aware of my body and its limitations. You're going to start next, go to the thoughts and say, what am I thinking about X, Y, and Z? Everything that you see around you, be mindful of, right? How do I feel about the fluorescent ring light in my face, right? How do I feel about like the computer that slowed down at the beginning of the show? Am I going to do something about what do I think about it? What am I feeling right now? What am I going to have for lunch? What do I feel like? What do I feel like eating for lunch? Do I feel like eating lunch at all? These are the kinds of things that you want to figure out for yourself, to become more mindful. And once you get connected with yourself, then you can try connecting with other people, right? So before you call me, call yourself first. Okay?
Beautiful, Anna. That's what we want people to feel like, peaceful.
Yeah.
The way of
Yeah,
the peaceful
funny.
warrior.
I typed that as you said it.
So
Go on, Dale.
So go ahead. I was just gonna give our details out and stuff. Do you want to
Okay.
add something else, Laura?
Yeah, just because I know it can be a difficult time for people as well. Okay, this time of year can be a difficult time. There's a lot going on now. We've got the solar flares to add to it. But, find something that gives you joy. And we usually do talk about having a daily practice with prayers. And something I've learned very recently is you can pray in I knew you could pray in many ways, but what I've learnt, and what I'm going to write a whole teaching on it, is some of the way I now do prayers and co-create with the ancestors and co-create with the unseen world is in cooking. And I used to cook a lot. I was with two partners for 40 years, so I did a lot of cooking. I had a lovely kitchen, and I loved it. And then I
need to interrupt, Ted, because we have Freudian slips on the show all the time. When you say you were with two partners for 40 years,
not at the same time.
Very, very clear. What the hell, Laura?
I was making the point that I was in two stable relationships, so I sort of got into cooking, and then I was single for sort of a year and a half, 2 years, and didn't want to cook at all and ate out. And recently, some of you who know me know that Andrew was sort of pushing me a bit to do more cooking. And you know what? That was the link in my prayers. He said to me, find a new way to do your prayers, because I've done so many of his teachings and done the toolbox over the last 10 years that I did need something new. And I realized that it was cooking, and it doesn't matter whether I can't possibly eat everything I'm cooking now. So I give it away, or it is an offering to the ancestors. But that's just an example. The co-creation now in my kitchen, finding my hearthstone, it's really made a difference to the joy in my life. I found an outlet as well. So it's not about how good I cook. That doesn't matter. It's about the intention, the love, and the co-creation that goes with it. And I actually call in my mum's past, but I call in my ancestors. I call in my grandmothers. I call in my mum. I cook with them. I know they're here with me, looking over the shoulder at the recipe and probably saying we didn't do it like that when we were on Earth. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's all an exquisite joy for me. And you know what? That has been something that is getting me through some of these more intense solar flares. So it doesn't have to be cooking. Go and find something that you can co-create, involve your ancestors with. Think that they're there with you, right? Because they absolutely are. And it's one thing, what is the Aurora Borealis? We haven't really said this, like, it is your ancestors. We haven't directly said that, I don't think, this show. It is your ancestors out there saying hello, saying we're here. You are not forgotten. You are not forgotten. We are here with you.
And that earth streaming mind showing you that you are part of the earth stream. You are part of the universe's dream. And that's what the Aurora is always showing us, that we're all dreaming each other.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. And, that's there for all of us. It's not just me. It's just we've forgotten, and I'd forgotten. And I am so blessed to have these people like Dale, David, Amy, and Andrew, and Joel in the background here. All the beautiful team we have at UCM and at Two Feathers, at Talking Stick, and so on. I'm so blessed to have those people around me, and we all remind each other. And we're reminding you too. Don't forget who you are, what you are, and why you dream this dream.
Beautiful. Beautiful, Laura. So, how can people get a hold of you for a session, Laura?
Yes, so if you want me to help you find that deep, exquisite self in you, I'm Laura2feathers@gmail.com. Just contact me. And I'd love to help you, love to put you in contact with your ancestors. Thank you so much. It's been a great show, guys. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Laura. And David?
Okay, now I'm hungry after all that talk about food. That's the first thing. That's the first thing. The second thing is you guys can find me in the UCM community. You should join the UCM community. Would you like to know why? Because we got like cool stuff in there, like stuff that you will not find on the net. It is our own little social media environment. Once you scan that barcode, you can enter the UCM community and we will take care of you. And when I say we will take care of you, I mean we have people that you can talk to. We got professionals. We got even a movie room, even. We got events. And next year, for those people who have businesses or whatever else, we have like free software that you can use to help you gain competitive advantage inside there. We're giving you everything but the kitchen sink. Why? Because we want to promote a little bit of, well, stress-free existence and happiness, as opposed to the usual murky waters of social media. Other than that, yeah, that's what it is. I'm really happy to have been on this last show of the year. And I am absolutely in gratitude for the cool people that are on the show. I'm hoping to see you guys in the new year. And yeah, the people who watch, the audience specifically, we want to thank y'all specifically for being here.
Yeah, we
Because
do.
it'll make fun. I mean, we could have just met on a Zoom call and just talk to each other, but now we talk to you guys. All right, so see you guys in the new year and season's greetings. And for those of you who don't have too much going on or whatever else, join the UCM community. We'll put stuff in there for you. We keep you entertained throughout this Christmas season.
And just to add, before you finish up, Dale, we have got the final show with Andrew on Thursday is going to be revisiting Adventures into Reality, which is Dale's idea, which is brilliant. There will be a prayer Sunday. Next Sunday, I've recorded a winter solstice prayer. And I think we're also doing a winter solstice special. I'm not sure what date that will be out, but that's something that will happen as well with me, Dale, Andrew, and Amy.
Beautiful.
Thank you, guys. Over to you, Dale.
So if you'd like to book a personal session with me, if you have any things which are coming up for you at the moment, you need that extra hand, head over to daletobin.com. I do psychic surgery sessions, soul retrieval, and ancestral mediumship as well. Also, I'll be running past life regression training in January on a personal basis as well. So if you'd like to learn the art of past life regression and how important and beautiful that process is, drop me a message. And also I've got a new show which is called The Dreaming Lodge, which happens every other Sunday now, opposite week of Laura. So I will be doing the next one, I believe, in 2 weeks' time. So yeah, a lot of exciting things coming up. And again, like Laura said, Adventures into Reality is back on Thursday. So the link to call in will be in the chat. So when you watch the show, find that link and come in straight away, because there's only 10 waiting spots. So if you can't get in straight away, so be early, be ready to click, and you'll be able to come on the show. And I'd like to just say as well to David and Laura and Andrew as well and Joel, I appreciate you all and love you all. And for those listening as well, what a great show. I'm really inspired by this. Great work, guys.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah, thank you.
See you guys next year.
See you soon. We'll keep spinning.
Thank you,